Hi friends, WizD here. Welcome to a new Raid Shadow Legends video. There is a lot happening in game right now or will happen in the next week or so. So we'll talk about it all today with how I got a free car. I was teasing this on the channel yesterday because of how busy work is. But yeah, that's a different story. And also the unconfirmed leak on how we will get each of these 4 champions that will be released into the game. So what's happening in game? Raid started teasing Loki and Asgard Divide, which is their own thing that they are creating, which is great. We'll talk about it while we're discussing stuff in the video. But they are releasing Loki as a free login champion. This is already confirmed in game. So Loki will start next week on August 21st, if I heard correctly from the other content creators. He will be a 14-day, well, you'll get him after 7 days, and then you'll get a 2-star soul for him when you continue logging for 14 days. This will be from August till October, and then, yeah, I think it's from August till end of October, something like that. What's great about this, the first thing to talk about, that it's not a collab, it's not an IP. This is their own thing that they are doing with the Norse mythology. Why is this good? Because it's like they can bring it back anytime. Those champs will remain in game. They won't be terminated like Ninja or whatever, or the Monster Hunter collab that they have done. So we can continue to get these champions after that promo or event period of 2 months. There's a lot going on there that they have done for the first time now, and that they have done really well, I would say. The first thing to talk about is the free login champ that everyone will have in the next couple of weeks. So let's discuss his kit and see whether, like, how useful is it? Is he super powerful? Is he ninja-like? Or is he like Wukong, Death Knight-like? So we'll check his kit and see. The good and the bad thing about not being into the content creator program, of course, the bad thing is that I cannot get that stuff early enough to prepare the videos for you. I'm depending on other like content creators' videos for it. The good thing is that we can talk about leaks because I don't have anything like with Plarium yet till I get into the program. So I'll tell you about how we can get the champs and everything if it turns out to be true, because leaks sometimes are not true, of course. So this is Loki's kit. He got a 50 to 70% chance on an A1 to extend the duration of the buffs on all enemies. It's an AoE attack, so it is an attack on an A1, which makes him perfect. We're thinking Hydra again, but yeah, to provoke sets, Hex sets, and all of that stuff. But extending the buffs is usually good. You can do it even in dungeons if we're talking about extending poisons or HP burns or whatever the buffs that are on the enemy team. So having this as an AoE on A1 is really good and powerful for a free login champion that everyone will have. So great A1. If we move into the A2, and I'll get into his weird passive and other stuff, his A2 and other parts of his kit are coded in a way that's brand new to the game. They haven't done so with anyone before, so kudos to them of keeping things interesting and bringing new stuff to the game. So his A2 can be either a team buff or an enemy team debuff, depending on how you want to use it. It got exactly the same cooldowns, 3-turn cooldowns, and it depends on whether, like, which fits into Loki's character, like of him being the deceiver. You cannot expect what he would do. If your team needs help, if he needs a little bit of support, then use the team buffing ability. If they don't, if he goes fast and he goes first, then you can use the enemy team debuff ability there. So what does it do? It has the potential of being an AoE, because though it's done on a target, whether it's the buff or the debuff part, let's talk about the debuff part first. So you select a target, you put block active skills on them, 100% chance to do this, and then block buffs on them for 2 turns. So both of these are really strong debuffs to put. And then if he's under Veil or Perfect Veil, we said that most of the time he will be, because of his passive and the rest of his kit, he will spread it to everyone else if there is no other debuffs, because he spreads 2 random debuffs. So if we talk Hydra situation, other content creators already mentioned this, he won't be guaranteed to spread the block buffs unless he goes first. So you make sure he goes first, he puts up block buffs and then just spreads it. The same thing for his support or buffing abilities that can be done in the same way. So basically he heals them by 50% HP. We're not sure his support, so we're not sure whether he will be HP based or not. And then places Perfect Veil and then buff spread, taking a random buff. So this can be the perfect veil, but it's not reliable. Or if you pair him with any other like buffer that goes before him, so this ability can spread whatever continuous heals, counter attack, or whatever. Any other buffs can be spread by this ability. His A3 got 100% chance of stealing all buffs from a target enemy. So that's also good for Hydra, but also for like wave content, PvP, and in lots of areas as well. And then this cannot be resisted if he is under perfect veil. So this is a buff steal that cannot be resisted. This is really powerful. Let's go into his passive because it gets even weirder there. So he places a perfect veil on himself. All of that's good stuff. They are introducing a new buff-like effect, which is evade. We see it here in the video. So evade is basically, it's like true fear or fear, let's say, but the other way around. So whoever got that evade ability, he's the first one to have it in game, will get a chance to evade any negative effects that the enemy will try to put in them, whether this is like turn meter steal, debuffs, or anything else. Something that we still need to test when we see the content creators do it on the test server: enemy skill and all of its accompanying effects. That means that he can also evade damage. So you try to like kill him or something with an AoE, and he got a 30% chance of just evading this damage. So this evasion can be a wild card, a new RNG layer that they are putting into the game, which they love to do, which is Loki. It fits perfectly into Loki's character. I love the design there because Loki is the deceiver. He's very sneaky. You cannot like guess what he will do. So having an ability like this on him is really useful. I think I agree with what Hill Hades like commented when he was commented on him. He said he won't be as strong like, let's say, everywhere like Artak or Ninja, for example, but he will be Ultimate Death Knight Wukong like in the sense of he will be useful like condition based depending on which situation he's in. Is it wave based content or PvP or PvE or whatever, but he will be useful. I love the new parts about his kit and how they like fit into his Loki character. So yeah, we'll all have him in a couple of weeks. I'm excited to test him and to build him. And now let's see how we'll get the other champions from the event. And I have to tell you the funny story about how I got that free car. So part of why I'm not releasing videos is that work is too hard. I had to travel like probably 3 times for multiple days in the past 10 days or so for my work. And I cannot just find time to record videos and release them. For you guys, I'm barely playing the game even. But what happened is that, so for one of my business trips, I had to rent a car and then drive for a couple of hours to a city close to me to visit with some customers. So I rented the car, had a bad experience with the rental company, drove there to the customer, got into the meeting, spent 2 hours with those big companies talking about how they can use our technologies and all of that stuff. And then I got out of the meeting and my rental car was gone. I couldn't find it in the parking lot, and I looked everywhere. I was thinking about, should I report it to the police, call the company, so insurance can start working on the stuff and everything. And I was worried about my stuff, my personal stuff that's inside the car. And then I saw that there is a fancier car, like this fancy top of line SUV with leather seating and like all the options and stuff parked in the same spot. I tried my remote control just by chance and I found my stuff inside that new car. I called the rental company. It was very funny, so it almost gave me a heart attack because they gave me a hard time and I gave them a bad review. They wanted to treat me and they gave me a free upgrade. To someone already like tracked the car via GPS and then put the fancier car in its place while I'm inside at the building meeting with those guys. It's a bit scary how much like technology knows about you because they adjusted the new car, like mirrors, side mirrors, the seat and everything exactly like the old one. I got my fancy free upgrade and I enjoyed it for the next couple of days while I'm on business trip. I was back home yesterday. I'm recording this to you today. Which other champions are there in the same event? We have Thor, other than Loki, that we'll all get. Attack-based magic damage dealer. I bet that he's going to smack with that hammer. I'm really looking forward to the animation and everything they will release on him. I'm guessing, so this is not part of the leagues that I'll talk about in a sec, but I think Thor is going to be our next fusion. So Thor is going to be our end of August, beginning of September fusion, and he's going to be a strong damage dealer. Let's see what else his kit will bring other than just damage dealing. Then we'll have Freya. Freya is going to be a force-based, legendary defense-based, and the final or the top prize that we'll have from this event is going to be Odin, Father, who will be a Void Lego. His support, but let's see, sometimes support champions got crazy stuff in their kit. So let's see how well they will form his kit. So even without the leak, people are already guessing that they will do it in a Monster Hunter way that they've done. If you were not playing back at this time, so we'll have the free login champion, we'll have one of them as a fusion, and then we'll have events, whether it's summoning events or finish first in tournaments or sort of a Deck of Fate like event or a Hero's Path event. So they will have certain events, more than one, for the third champion. I'm guessing the third champion is going to be Freya. So the league didn't include which is which, but just my guess, Thor is going to be the fusion and she's going to be the path event. What the league says is that Odin, well, they're talking about a guaranteed void Lego, so he's the only one that fits that criteria there, is going to be a guaranteed void champion. So for those 110 or 120 voids, you can get Odin for sure. I've been saving voids on both accounts since we pulled Narcissus, so I'm really looking forward to Odin being a guaranteed void Lego if it turns out to be true, and also for his kit being good, because that's what I saved for, like, how much? Is it almost 8 months now? Yeah, the game is becoming dull without pulling voids, so let's hope that we'll get them and maybe we'll get some other cool stuff with them as well. There's also 2 more pieces of information that we're going to share about this event now. Both pieces are related to the new dungeon, so that's what they have been teasing that I talked about in the last couple of videos. They have a new event-only dungeon in-game. Which other games have, and it's a cool mechanic, a cool new mode of the game. This dungeon will only be available for a certain period of time, for a month or 2 months or whatever. You can farm specific gear, it's like battle pass or something from it. Specific gear sets that you cannot get elsewhere, so you have that month to farm that gear and then it's gone completely, unless they bring it back seasonally every like few months or whatever. This allows them to do so much in the game. This allows them to do like so many combinations of different dungeons and stuff on seasonal basis, as MTG Jedi was saying, for like Halloween, holiday season, Christmas, New Year's or whatever. They can do completely different combinations of bosses and like wave based or whatever seasonal dungeons that drop specific rewards that you cannot get outside of this season. So good move from Plarium. They're catching up with the other games there. They're catching up even with Godforged that haven't been released yet. They are releasing champions from the Norse mythology, and we know that Godforged already has this. I have a separate video on Godforged. Hopefully I can release it tomorrow if I can record it today. So the main thing here, so we'll have the dungeon, though there is still an embargo on what gear that will drop from this dungeon, but I've heard a couple of hints from content creators that it's going to be very strong, that they don't want us to farm this dungeon endlessly, because looks like if you can dump thousands of energy in this dungeon, you might like get a level of gear that no one else can, depending on how much they're spending or how fast they can farm this dungeon. So it might be key based, only a few runs per day or whatever to get those great pieces of gear. We're still to hear about what gear will drop in the next couple of days, but let's see. I'm very excited about the collab and how to get those champions, and then we'll talk about like their kits when they are released on the test server or whatever, and we'll check which ones of them are good, which ones of them you can, like, you want to save resources so you can get them from Hero's Path events like Freya, if my guess is right, whether the fusion is good to go after or whatever. Because it's going to be a limited event, those they will remain in the hero, in like the hero's pool or the champ pool going forward. So for example, if Thor is our next fusion and you don't want to do the fusion, you can still pull him from a shard. But if his kit is great, this might be your only chance or a rare chance for you to get him guaranteed. If his kit is good, probably this is going to be the first fusion that I will do on our long-term free-to-play. We have the resources, we're bored and our progress is halted, so let's see there. But yeah, what I want to see for Thor, because Thor is not only a damage dealer for waves, he should be a boss damage dealer. And that's what I was hinting also in some of the previous videos. Every year, Plarium gives us a champion that's really good in dealing with bosses like Newt. Here is a small prediction because I cannot hold myself back from doing a view of those. Thor is going to be our boss damage dealer. Thor is going to be our Newt for 2024. Let's see if I'm right about this and he's going to be that good. But definitely a fusion to start saving for and to go for. And then, yeah, if you have voids, save them. If you're not pulling them regularly, because Odin might be a guaranteed void Lego. We'll see if the leak is true or not. And then Freya's going to be from the path event. Let's see if actually she's good, so we can like waste, I don't know, souls or energy or shards or whatever to get her from those events. As soon as this info is released, I'll share it with you and I'll tell you my opinion as usual, of course. Let's hope that work is not as hard and I don't get to travel as much in the coming couple of weeks, because I want to share my opinion with you when the news is released about the new champions and stuff. Let's see how we'll get them participate in the events and have fun in game. And let's hope I get into the content creator program soon so I can get the news early and maybe test the champions if we grow big enough. Thank you for tuning in today. I'll see you next time. Bye.